Our next speaker is Sabine Heinz. She's with the Space Renaissance International organization, which is a partner of the Mars Society. And Sabine is one of the leadership of that organization, and she's a wonderful artist. She's actually volunteered at our last 3 conventions as a virtual volunteer, and she did a fantastic job this year, as always. Sabine is a rock star. And so I want to thank you publicly, Sabine, for everything you've done for the Mars Society. And you have a full room of people clapping right now. Go ahead with your talk.
Okay. Hello, thank you very much for this very nice introduction. It's my pleasure to speak today at the Mars Society Convention. I'm one of the vice presidents of Space Renaissance International, and we're an organization dedicated to civil exploration, exploitation, and settlement of space. Many thanks also to Robert Zurin for inviting me and encouraging me to speak about art on Mars. This made me want to take a closer look at the topic and brought me closer to the beauty of the red planet in a different way. Today, I would like to pursue the question, is there art on Mars, and why should we bring art to Mars? The Mars has been captivating people for ages, not only scientists, but also many artists felt inspired by him. On this image by David Hardy, Mars is shown as he has seen throughout the ages or times of centuries, and I think it's a very nice representation of technical or technological progress. Talking about scientists, many scientists and scholars have dedicated their lives to Mars. Tycho Brahe cut his teeth on him, and after securing Tycho's data, Kepler set himself the task to determining the exact orbit of Mars once and for all. And he was able to solve the riddle, and Kepler's pioneering laws are still the basis for space travel today. This is a Mars map from 1888 and by the Italian astronomer Giovanni Schiaparelli, observing the canals of Mars. Some of them represent canyons or gradations on in the terrain, but they do not correspond to any structure on the surface of Mars known today. But up until the last century, these observations fueled the legend of extraterrestrials on Mars. Flammarion, also Camille Flammarion, also shows an illustration with the canals in his book, Himmelskunde für das Volk. You can see here the canals in a very nice way, a picture. And while his own observations do not show any canals, as shown here on these pictures, and you can see he did several observations and has not seen any canal on the Mars. Michael Plichter is a traditional globe maker, and he was fascinated by Percival Lowell's spidery map from 1905. And he thinks this might be the craziest map ever made, the Mars Canal map. And it was his dream to have a globe from this map, and since he couldn't get one, he decided to build one of his own. Jack Williamson published the novel Collision Orbit in 1942 under the pseudonym Will Stewart, and in it he formulated the idea of global remodeling of planets by humans and used the term terraforming for the first time. Today, this terminus technicus is in general use and by no means only for the reshaping of Mars and Venus. Here is an artist's impression of the terraforming Mars. In the meantime, the red planet has been better processed than its colleagues, the moon or the depth of the terrestrial seas. A number of missions to reach Mars have already been successful. The Mars helicopter Ingenuity has been on the road for more than a year. He was planned as a technology demonstrator, and now he has major tasks. The Mars rover Curiosity and Perseverance, as well as the Chinese rover Zhurong since May 2021, are also sending permanent images to Earth. Elon Musk, with his company SpaceX, would like to send the first humans to Mars in about 8 or 10 years. The Pristine Beauty of Mars. This is a wonderful book. Unfortunately, it is only available on a really high price. It has many inspirational images taken with a high-rise instrument aboard the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter. The high-rise instrument shows details of the height and deep depth of the terrain being observed, but in different colors. This is a small selection of some of the spectacular images from this book. I would like to thank you in this to Steve Salmon, another artist, for letting me use this slides to present this artwork. I think you can easily see why he would want to use these as a subject for his own artwork. He extensively sculptured polystyrene for this piece, mounted it on canvas, and then applied common sand and acrylics using dry brushing and shading techniques to bring out the detail. And he used similar techniques for this piece also. And here too, he used the same technique. This lava piece interested me especially. You can see here on the left-hand side lava flows of Mount Etna in Italy, and 2019 eruption within the context of the last 2 decades. And on the right-hand side, you can see a picture from the book Mars as Art, and it is the ICM New Impact. This crater, formed in 2008, exposes shallow, clean ice that is not uncommon in the middle to high latitudes on Mars. Sublimation, the process that occurs when a solid changes into a gas without an intermediary liquid stage, creates an ice-free layer on the surface that may be several feet deep, hiding the ice underneath and until exposed by an impact. Noctis landslide. What triggered a Martian landslide? Landslides are common features in canyons on both Earth and Mars, and they happen the same way. Erosion undermines a canyon wall until abruptly millions of tons of rock come crashing down. In the case seen here, the impact of a meteorite landing near the edge of the canyon may have done more than just blast a crater 6.5 kilometers wide. The impact may also have triggered the massive landslide, either at the time of impact or shortly after. The Arabia Dunes, on the right-hand side, the buttered region of Arabia Terra is among the oldest terrain on Mars. A dense patchwork of craters from countless impacts testifies to the landscape's ancient age, dating back millions of years. In eastern Arabia lies an anonymous crater 120 kilometers across. The floor of this crater contains a large exposure of rocky material, a field of dark sand dunes, and numerous patches of what is probably fine-grained sand. The shape of the dunes hints that prevailing winds have come from different directions over the years. This file's color image, made from frames taken by the Thermal Emission Imaging System TEMIS about NASA's Mars Odyssey orbiter, shows the center of the crater's floor. The image combines a daytime view at visible wavelengths with a nighttime view at infrared heat sensing wavelengths, giving scientists clues to the physical nature of the surface. Fine-grained materials such as dust and the smallest sand particles heat up quickly by day and cool off equally quickly at night. However, coarser materials, bigger sand particles, gravel, hardened sediments, and rocks respond more slowly to the same daily cycle. This means that when TEMIs use these coarse materials late in the Martian night, they appear warmer than the pools and patches of fine-grained sand. In the image here, areas that are cold at night appear in blue tints, while the warmer areas shows in yellows, oranges, and red. Nili Fosse, this enhanced color portion of the floor of Nili Fosse contains a wonderful mixture of rock types known as melange. Nili Fosse is a graben or down-dropped valley. Much of the melange is a ejectiform, a larger crater to the southeast. Impact cratering is a great way to mix up rock types. Many of the materials have been altered by water. The parallel scarp-crested ridges are wind-blown sediments. And on the right-hand side, the frost-covered dunes in a crater. Dunes are often found on crater floors. In the winter, at high northern latitudes, the terrain is covered by carbon dioxide ice, also dry ice. And in the spring, as a seasonal ice sublimes, many unusual features unique to Mars are visible. On the floor of this crater, where there are no dunes, the ice forms an uninterrupted layer. On the dunes, however, dark streaks form surface material from below the ice is mobilized and deposited on top of the ice. In some cases, this mobile material probably slides down the steep face of the dune, while in other cases, it may be literally blown out in a process of gas release. Similar to removing a cork from a champagne bottle. View of the angel with a big heart at the south pole of Mars. The DLR, a high-resolution stereo camera, HRSC, has been mapping the red planet in unprecedented resolution in 3 dimensions and in color. Since 2004 as part of ESA's Mars Express mission. And in images recorded on November 8, 2020 during orbit, a yet unknown nearly 100-kilometer long angel figure near the south pole of Mars appears to want to greet Earth from a current distance of approximately 100 million kilometers. And on the right-hand side, NASA captured blue ripples on the red planet. NASA says that blue ripples reveal the secret of how the wind blows on Mars. On the following pages, you can see, or will show you preliminary work for a joint project with Michael Plichter. These are attempts to familiarize myself with the material. I put Stevaform Gießmasse from Glorex into molds and tried to create some structures. After that, I painted some over with modern optics primer to create a barrier layer so I could continue working on them. I used different primers or foundations, iron primer and copper primer. And for the iron primer, there's a simple oxidizing agent that acts as a catalyst for the oxidation process. And there are various oxidizing agents for the copper primer so that different effects can be achieved. These are again the untreated areas. And in comparison, the first layer with the oxidants. Here they applied the funds freshly, and you can clearly see that the colors are still wet, and some structures are now easier to see, others less so. And this is a finished result. In comparison, you can clearly see that the surface has once again changed significantly. In nature, of course, such processes take place much more slowly. The musician Rick Wakeman found a different approach to Mars. He's a passionate astrofan himself and is intensively involved with the subject of Mars, as can be seen in this interview with the magazine Raumfahrt Konkret. But he also deals artistically with Mars. Many of his compositions and albums are dedicated to the Red Planet. And who knows, maybe one day his music will be played on Mars. Back to Earth and Mars. Left is a view of Mars. It's a screenshot of a 3D image, and on the right hand side you see an image of the Atacama Desert. The surface structures are similar, only the sky is different. I was traveling in different deserts of the world, and I noticed one thing. The settlements and the deserts or oases are all surrounded by walls. I observed it in all deserts of the world, and this is not only for protection from wild animals, but also as protection against winds and storms. Here you see an overview image of a resort in the desert. As you can see the wall. And then I looked at the different designs for the Mars habitats. Here's a random screenshot from Google search, and the bases are either underground or on the surface, but never surrounded by walls. Even if they are underground, the entrances are on the surface and the sun could blow them over. We all know there are sunstorms on Mars. I picked out an example. This is a 2019 winning design of a NASA competition. And if you surround the space with a wall, and I've seen designs for stone or brick productions made of from regolith. So it would be possible. It would be possible to do this wall, as they would look different, of course. Then you would have a huge canvas for artwork. Life on Mars will be very hard, and it will be many decades before, if ever, the first human being is born there. But it would make the life of people on Mars much more colorful because there is no nature. But we want more. We want to bring art to Mars. In July this year, our first Space Renaissance Art and Science Festival took place at the Aschenhold Observatory in Berlin. And we had a really nice program about space art and space science. These were our sponsors and collaborators, and Space Renaissance International, together with the Mars Society and the Planetarium Berlin Foundation, launched the art project Art Goes to Mars. Art Goes to Mars is an international collaborative artwork and gallery of ideas worth sending to Mars. Art Goes to Mars aims to be the first culture event on Mars and will send 100 artworks to the Mars as early as 2030. And we are developing a culture for future interplanetary society. With Art Goes to Mars, we would like to lay the first cornerstone for a library on Mars. And it is a symbolic gesture that has a real influence, a way to reboot culture, rethink our values, and for better living on Earth's planet. We hope to bring the best of humanity to the Mars and to bring the benefits of the Mars to all people on Earth through a sustainable exploration process. Our initiatives connect art, Moon, Mars, and beyond. This includes the organization of meetings, workshops, art science-based classes and projects at various universities, sessions at international conferences, art exhibitions, musical and visual performances. So I hope the movie is running now. There should be a movie now. Hello, welcome to the rooftop of the Aschenhold Observatory in Berlin. You can see in the background the longest lens telescope on Earth with 21 meters. The Aschenhold Observatory was founded in the year 1996 and by the founder Friedrich Simon Aschenhold. And here in this historical place, our Space Renaissance Art and Science Festival takes place. And I'm so excited to announce our new project. Together with the Mars Society, Space Renaissance International, and the Planetarium Berlin Foundation, we want to launch our new project, Art Goes to Mars. Why art goes to Mars or to space? Art belongs to humanity, and that's why art has to go with us if it comes to space.
Why is art an important part of our effort to explore Mars? And the reason is it's because artists can see with their minds what other people have yet to see with their eyes. And so they can bring Mars to us, and not only the Mars of today, the Mars that could be photographed, send cameras to the right place, but could see what is going to be there. To basically make the vision sensuous, to convey to people what is actually there in a way better than a camera can, but more importantly, to portray what could be there, which no camera can.
What does it take to bring our civilization beyond the cradle of the Earth? It will take some scientists, some engineers, some astronauts, some architects, and all the disciplines, and we want to inclusively engage all humanity. But of course, as humanity, we have to bring as well all areas of art. And for this reason, Space Renaissance International, together with the Mars Society, are launching a new initiative to bring art to Mars. And this year, we are organizing a number of events, the Space Renaissance Festival in Berlin, but as well events at the International Astronomical Congress in Paris in September, where we will all gather and we will have also various proposals of art that we can send to Mars. So join us and let's all go beyond our cradle to the Earth, to the Moon, and to Mars. Thank you.
We would like to ask you to send us your work of art. These can be fine art pictures, collage artworks, photographs, stories, science fiction, music composition, dances, theater presentations, or movies. Since the transportation is very expensive, we would like to collect the works on a USB stick and send it to Mars. At the same time, we will organize exhibitions and performances. We will select 100 artworks to start their journey to Mars. These work of arts will later be collected in a book. Maybe we can raise enough money to fund the shipping of this book as well. Then, with this book, in addition to our artwork, we would lay the first cornerstone for a library on Mars. And who knows, maybe your artwork will be included. Are you in?
Thank you, Sabina.
No, it's not really.
The video was a little choppy, but
Uh,
we got most of it. So thank you.
Okay, I have one sentence more. In conclusion, we can say that nature is great, is a great architect and artist. Through science and technology, we can make it visible in a number of ways. And art can touch our hearts. It speaks to us emotionally. And if we think back to the times of quarantine caused by Corona, we will remember that we survived the loneliness well, especially with the help of art. What would our life be without books, films, pictures, photos, theater, and games? Art is part of our culture, part of our history, part of humanity. And that's why there has to be art on Mars if we want to live there. I thank you for your attention, and I'm open for questions. The movie could not be seen.
Say again, please, Sabina.
The movie could not be seen.
No, we saw the movie. It was just a little choppy. The sound also was a little choppy, but we caught most of it. When we do this archive on YouTube, maybe you can email me the video and I'll make sure the version up there is much better. So,
okay.
Any questions for Sabina? Okay. Well, thank you so much, Sabina. We really appreciate your presentation, and thank you. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.